Well, what is going on, everybody? It is Tuesday, and I feel it's entirely too long that I've said this, but it's time to talk some football.
It's felt like
So, um, it it has been a hot minute for sure. Not just with everything going on with summer vacations and the craziness of certain seasons ending and other seasons kind of getting ready to take off and everything. Been able to kind of keep up with everything, but here we are, right? We're going to start getting back into the swing of kind of sketch tonight, so I'm going to do the best I can to work with what I got. But I had a really cool place to come from, and I've honestly since forgotten it, so I got nowhere to come from. So tonight we're just
man, you had the best one last year.
Here. I don't even remember which one that was.
Remember, it was Gadzooks.
Yeah, I don't even remember what it was.
You came from Gadzooks.
Oh yeah. I forgot all about that. Gadzooks North Star Mall.
I got one
where I bought my Christian.
Yeah, I got one.
Okay, go for it.
Today I'm gonna come at you from the Malt House Studios.
It's messed up right now, so you just have to use your phone, your broadband on your phone. Yeah. Sorry. Again, we're having internet issues across the house.
Oh geez.
So, anyways, so what was your location again? You told me someplace about something with cookies or something.
The Malt House Studios.
The Malt House. Yeah, didn't that just close down recently?
I don't think it was recent. I think it's been a little while.
Okay.
But
well, I've slept since then. So anyways, we have a lot to cover tonight. And so I think first of all, shout out to Kaylee over on Instagram. She joined us tonight. She's the head coach of the oh, hey, what's up, Bobby? Good to see you, man. Haven't talked to you in a hot minute. Hi, hun. So we're trying to change the format of the show a little bit here and trying to make it a little bit more digestible into football quarters, if you will. And so we have not broken everything down yet, but we are going to have some graphics that are going to be going with this and everything. Start out with the first quarter. We're about alternative football. And there's quite a bit to talk about. And we only have about 15 minutes. First and foremost, COFL recap. Obviously, the San Antonio Toros are the 2026 Continental Football League champions. Now, that isn't without a little bit of controversy. And I say that not that I agree with it, but there are some people out there, and we know who they are. They know who they are. And we're not going to call them out specifically by name, but they have a problem with the fact that San Antonio did not play all 6 games in their schedule. Okay. And token is spelled just Token. There you go, hon. See, so there you go.
You know what? You are a brave man. You are a brave
but then she corrected
calling her out on the show on spelling. You're gonna get stabbed in the eye when you sleep.
And I'm sure I will. And hopefully she gets me in the bad eye here because, I could really use a new one. But all that to say, there was controversy about the way the Continental Football League season ended because the San Antonio, Toros did not play the last game. But it's important to know that the San Antonio Toros opponent was going to be the Texas Herd. The Texas Herd has been having an issue fielding players every game that they played.
The numbers went before that, like
significantly
17.
Down.
They had 17 players dressed or something.
They had 17 players dress out to play.
At that point, you're talking a safety issue for not just the Herd, but also your own team. I mean, there's That's
Yep.
at that point. It's an exhibition game. It's a practice. It's a scrimmage, and you're going to go out and risk your players getting hurt when obviously by far the best team in the league, the best players, the most potential to move on to CFL teams, NFL camps, the next steps. It would be absolutely stupid to risk the health of the players for a team that can't even dress 20 players for a game.
Yep. And so the one thing that people are neglecting to, or certain people are neglecting to pay attention to, is the fact that both teams talked and they both agreed that this would be a bad idea for both teams involved. So it was a mutually agreed upon just what the heck's the word I'm looking for? Basically, they called the game. Both sides called the game. It was not necessarily a forfeit, but realistically a forfeit on both team sides. So it doesn't count against either team.
And to be honest, like
yes, the San Antonio Toros.
This game was supposed to be in the beginning of July. It's 1,000 degrees outside. I don't even know if I'd want to go to a game where we're playing a team that can't even dress 20 players. Like that's from a fan perspective, that would be a crappy game to go to in the ridiculous heat. So, it's absolutely great decision that they just decided that in the best interest of all parties, don't play the game.
Yep. Now I will say the rest of the teams in the South, the Syndicate, the Austin Syndicate, and the Tall City Black Gold, they did finish out their seasons. If I remember correctly, Tall City came in third, Syndicate came in second. Right? But
and nobody
it's
came out of the
important to
north.
know that nobody came out of the north. So by default, the Cincinnati Dukes did win their division because there was no division left anymore.
They were the only team,
and
they played like 2 games,
right?
So,
but that almost sounds, like a little bit of, foreboding news going on with the Continental Football League. However, there will be a second season. There's going to be some big changes coming, as you can see in all the social media and everything. The San Antonio Toros are doing well. In fact, the investment group is starting businesses in addition to running a football team, right? There's like a sports consultation team. They're going to be doing a whole bunch of private training and just all kinds of good stuff. And I have a feeling that that's going to be kind of the standard that's going to be set, is that these teams are going to have a way to be able to be self-sustaining. And
which is absolutely stupid.
I think there's going to be a lot
wasn't
more
already
oversight.
The case. I mean, we talked about it at the very beginning. Like that was kind of what we were was led to believe a bit, was these teams were supposed to be self-sufficient. Obviously they weren't, but
right. And so there's, just some issues, but I have a pretty sneaking suspicion that there's going to be a lot more involvement, and specifically I believe there's going to be a little bit more influence probably from the South, being that they were the ones that were more successful. And it just turned out to be, I mean, things were just much better, down in the South here, go figure. And I'm sorry, I'm fighting with the tickety talk because they're saying that we've got illegal content, which is, it's our own content.
I mean, we're not that ugly, but it's rude, TikTok.
No. I know. We'll be. I filed an appeal. We'll be fighting with them for sure.
Is it because I'm drinking on the show? I mean, this is just apple juice.
Nah. I think they're just being
drinking
silly.
Apple juice,
it's just apple juice.
Apple
juice. Anyways, so again, I have a feeling that the Continental Football League is going to be coming back stronger next season with a lot more, just better business oversight, if you will. And this is actually a pretty good transition. So Continental Football League finished out strong. Expect some big stuff next year. We'll see, and I expect Coach to come back and absolutely destroy it. Let's talk about the UFL, because we try and cover all things alternative football here. We obviously know that the Kings won the UFL playoffs, and Rapoli, in true Rapoli fashion, has been absolutely stirring the fan base up. And I gotta say, I'm here for it.
Absolutely.
Okay?
I love it.
I told you before that I was not a fan of Mike Rapoli just because of some of the crazy things that he does. And I hate to say it, but just kind of some of the business decisions that he's made. But let's be honest, he turned a product that was a good product, but a mediocre moneymaker, into a viable money-making product.
Yeah.
Is he making hand over fist? No. And did he oh, hey, what's up, Coach? Coach is on the Instagram.
Nice. What's up, Coach?
Shout out to him. Love that guy. But is he making hand over fist? No. And he probably lost money, to be honest. But he probably lost less money this season than the UFL did the previous season. And you notice that there was, limited merch in the merchandise store. And, after the season was over, that merch filtered out pretty quickly and went away. Right. So he didn't overbuy a bunch of stuff.
Exactly.
And he didn't overload the merchandise store with a bunch of stuff that nobody wanted to buy. He put
I think it was smart, strategic for him. And I know there was, a lot of people complaining. He kind of, at the beginning of the season, he did kind of, take blame for kind of, some merch not being available and the shop being, having some issues, which, hey, good on him. That's what a leader does. You take blame when something doesn't go right. Even if it's not necessarily his fault, hey, but but I think it is a smart decision. Kind of look and see what people are wanting to buy, and then kind of stock up on that. The only thing that I am disappointed with for the UFL store is they don't have the rally towels available, which, I want a rally towel for all the teams. I haven't been able to get one for them. So I've gotten a couple, obviously I went to the Dallas game opening. I've had a couple of our friends that have gone to some games, get me a couple, but I don't have all of them yet. So hopefully they will start to sell them in the shop and I can order some. But
and so let's talk about that. We already know that there was some controversy about certain teams maybe coming back, maybe not coming back, and which teams you're going to see more of, right? We're not going to necessarily get into all the speculation. I think we all pretty much have a good idea of, who's doing what and where each, team is going to wind up this next season. I do like the fact that, they put it in smaller, intimate settings, which equals smaller, intimate rent payments, right? And I know there's a lot of fans that are going to be pissed off at me when I say this next part, but not everybody, but there's a specific group that seems to keep talking about bringing back Seattle, and I would love to see that happen. But the thing you don't seem to understand is, regardless of the lease that they have with Lumen Field, that's not going to cover the travel costs. One of the reasons why Seattle was cut was because of how expensive it was to travel back and forth. Even 5 games. That's 2 teams, 5 games, right? And it's not like you're driving over to Houston, or you're taking a quick puddle jumper over to St. Louis or something like that.
I don't know. I mean, they're all hubbed in Arlington. How much more travel is it to go to Seattle than it is to go to Orlando or go to DC?
It's actually more, believe it or not.
I think I mapped it out, and I think this was before Orlando had a team, because I think I mapped it to DC, and it was like a 45-minute, flight wise as far as time. And I mean, they've got deals with these, these charter jets and stuff like that. Like it's not like they're flying freaking Southwest or whatever to these. So
No,
I don't know.
at best they're flying probably Spirit.
I don't fully buy the it costs way too much to play the games there argument, but I don't know. I don't think it was that much of a difference. Yeah, and I think are they supposed to be building a soccer stadium over there, or I don't think they play at Lumen Field. It was way too big for the crowds they were getting. So
Seattle has a soccer team.
Okay.
They have a Major League Soccer team, the Seattle Sound, if I remember correctly. So they've got the facilities there, but like your money's already tied up in Lumen. You're not going to go back to Lumen because it's entirely too large for the crowds that you're trying to pull. Although Seattle does pull 26. I mean, they were averaging really good numbers when they were here, and the Seattle faithful have not seemed to have lost faith, right? I do not believe Seattle's coming back right away. Now, 2030, 2032, maybe. I'm thinking a little bit sooner, maybe 28, 29, right? Once we kind of establish the core group, because again,
we know Oklahoma's coming in 28,
and
27, 28,
27.
28.
So they'll be here
Oklahoma's not coming next year. Oklahoma's coming the year after. So, and okay. I mean, we saw Rapoli post, on Twitter asking, Detroit, was their soccer stadium going to be ready by the end of 27? So we know they're going to introduce 2 new teams in 28, one other along with OKC. They haven't announced which one it is. Maybe it's bringing Michigan back, which would be great. Obviously, our friends with My Panther Pride, and just, I mean, hey, that was a hell of a fan base. So it sucked. They lost their team.
Yep.
So.
And let's talk about that too, because I wanted to touch on something. The San Antonio fan base, right? We lost our team, and there's a few of us, diehard faithfuls that, and I'm not one of them, right? I have my new love, she's right over here behind me. Or actually, I probably should say she's right here, right? But if they were to decide to bring the team back, or the San Antonio fans want to get the team back, now would be the time to start making noise. We should have been making noise the whole entire offseason. And we've had a couple of representatives from the San Antonio fan base that are out there kind of, shaking babies and kissing hands and doing the things that they're supposed to be doing. But as a group, if we're going to try and fight to get, our team back here, now's the time to start making noise, because we're already behind the 8 ball. Now, I know Rapoli's had some conversations with some of the people in our group, and I'm not going to, throw this person under the bus and drop that person's name. But there's already been discussion about it, or possibly, bringing it at least a little bit closer to home. And again, now is the time. If you guys want the UFL back, now's the time to be making noise for that. Okay. The only problem I have with that is that the San Antonio fans do seem to be pretty apathetic. And that's reflective in the support of like the San Antonio Gunslingers, which we're going to talk about here in just a minute. The San Antonio Toros fan base was growing, but I mean, that's going to take some time, right? I have not seen San Antonio get behind something prior to or since the San Antonio Commanders. I don't know what it was about the Commanders. I mean, I know what I liked about them, but I have not seen that kind of fan base and those numbers growing in a team that was ended the season 5-3.
Yeah, something like that. I don't remember. It was a long time ago.
Right. We would have been in the hunt for the playoffs, but we were not guaranteed to be in the playoffs. But that fan base was growing exponentially, right? And I'm sorry, Cult of Call, I forgot to put that up there. Michigan or New Orleans, and I really think it's going to be Michigan. I don't think New Orleans had the numbers to support, and I don't think they necessarily have a field to play in. But maybe they do. I don't know if New Orleans has a soccer field or not. Again, all that to say, I've seen the San Antonio fans here be pretty apathetic, and that's even like in regard to the support of the San Antonio Spurs and things like that. When the Spurs were not doing good, you saw the numbers absolutely drop to the point where there was even speculation that might be moving to Austin. And there was serious doubt that they were going to get that Project Marvel approved to get the stadium built here downtown for the Spurs. Now, they did, and I think that's an absolutely wonderful idea because that not only helps out San Antonio Spurs and the downtown community if they do it right, asterisk, right, put that in there, but that also helps out the San Antonio Rodeo because now they'll have access to the Frost Bank Center, which means that they can expand and it can be more like the Houston Rodeo where it's almost year-round, right? And that's going to be good for the whole rodeo community and all the scholarships and all the kids that they help out with that and everything else. Anyways, okay, we're done with pretty much that.
Done with the Texas Talking Rodeo? Okay.
Yeah, we're done with Texas Talking Rodeo, which we actually probably should. But anyways, that's a whole different story. To land the UFL plane, Mike Rapoli is definitely making waves. Keep your eyes on the UFL because there's even talk about putting the the season earlier is what I was trying to remember. And Elizabeth, while I understand what you're talking about, that's more on the other teams that were in the league. Everybody had the option and the ability to go pick up whatever players that they could for whatever the predetermined salaries were. The San Antonio Toros just happened to get better players, but it wasn't like they went outside their contracts or anything like that. So the other teams need to kind of pick it up and get better talent, and we'll get better football, which I suspect will happen this next season. So I don't think it's necessarily the Toros need to move to a different league. I think the other teams in the league need to step up their game, right? Because this is supposed to be AA ball. So, just keep that in consideration when we move forward with the season. Now, again, UFL, there's a lot going on. Rapoli is the master of playing the strings and keeping people talking. And I think that's going to do wonders for this next season, right? We've already talked about how I thought he was an absolute business genius for getting ahead of the fan shop fiasco and taking ownership of it because it did, honestly, I think, help sell merchandise. And because of the way it was presented and everything this season, you had a lot more eyes. Maybe you had less people at the game, right? Because attendance has been dropping off regardless of who was at the helm. But I think you had more eyes on it on TV, which is where the money is coming from anyways. So fair trade-off, I think he knows what he's doing. And I think he's going to be moving some teams around to make a bigger impact to actually start turning a profit at some point.
No, I think so. I think there's definitely, there's a lot of chatter. Obviously, the big thing was like they released some availability, like job opportunities for every team other than Birmingham. So, the big thing was like, oh, well, that means Birmingham's leaving, and Birmingham fans are all pissed off and all this, except one little caveat. Birmingham already had that guy on their their roster or on in their group. So on their payroll. That's why they weren't listed. So, I mean, whatever.
Exactly.
Now, does Birmingham need to move? Probably so. I mean, they can't get 3,000 fans to a game. Yeah, they've had plenty of chances. They probably need to move. And you know what? I don't care how many times your name has changed or how many venues or different arenas or stadiums you've been to. Houston, you don't support your team, you need to go too. Houston has had every opportunity to support the Gamblers, the Roughnecks, the whatever they are, and they just simply refuse to. So, sorry, bye. And you know what? Dallas is on the edge of that too. They had okay attendance over at Cockjaw. Frisco was pretty bad. I kind of understand why, because it was like an hour north of the city. I mean, it was kind of a pain in the ass to get to when we went to the first game.
Mm-hmm.
But, still, kind of attendance has been dropping for them too. So, I don't know. Maybe being where the hub is at is their saving grace, but I could maybe see them, maybe getting moved too. Who else? Obviously DC, no chance. St. Louis, of course, no chance. Um, you see those articles pop up every now and then about maybe St. Louis moving to the soccer stadium, whatever, Energizer Park or whatever it's called. It's probably not going to happen. Their attendance has been dropping steadily over the years, but I still think they bring enough people to keep it in the Dusty Dome. Obviously, like I said, obviously DC, nothing's gonna happen with them. Louisville probably had the best attendance of all the new teams, and they won, so they're not going anywhere. Columbus had really good attendance actually for kind of as down of a year as they had. So obviously it was their first year. You're not going to move them. You're not going to move Orlando. Orlando kind of had iffy attendance. But it wasn't terrible. And again, it was their first year. You got to give them a chance to kind of build up. So, I think there's seriously 3 teams that are in potential danger, or probably need to be relocated. And again, that's Dallas, that's Houston, and that's Birmingham.
Yeah. So it's going to be interesting to see what happens there. Let's also talk about some interesting things that happened in indoor football, right? So San Antonio had a very rough year in the indoor football league. Oh, look.
Rob, we talked about that 5 minutes ago. So the reason they had the job opening for 7 teams is because the team that was left off the list already has that job opening filled. They already have that person. They don't need to hire another one. So that's why there was only 7 teams.
It means nothing more than that. Okay, so indoor football league. San Antonio had a very crushing season. And what I mean by that is that they were in the fight for the playoffs up until let me see, what week was it?
2 weeks ago, I think.
Yeah, it was the I'm trying to go back to the game.
Was it Vegas? It was the game they lost like last second.
It was against the Rattlers. No, it wasn't the Rattlers. It was the one before that. It was I'll find it. It wasn't the Pirates. Maybe it was the Pirates. No, it wasn't the Pirates. It was the week after that. But anyways, I want to say it was the Strike Force or something like that. But they were in the game, and it literally came down to a couple of plays that they just kind of blew at the end. And real quick, Robert, no need to be sorry, man. We're moving fast tonight, and we're trying to cover a whole bunch of stuff. So I just appreciate you tuning in and watching, man. But once they lost that game, because it was both teams were playing for a playoff spot, and I want to say it wasn't the Strike Force. Maybe it was the Orlando game. Because I think Orlando beat them out. That was the one that they lost kind of last minute. But this is a roller coaster season for these guys, right? They would do okay and then hit kind of the slumps. Yeah. And then they'd make some changes and they do okay. They
started out really slow, didn't they? They lost like the first 3 games or something like that.
First 3 in a row. Yeah. And that's hard to kind of come back from, even in what is it, a 16-game season? But one thing they did do is they made a change at quarterback, and it made a big difference, right? So they had their 2 quarterbacks from last year, and here's an odd thing. They had a pretty good center that they traded to another team that they wound up playing the next week, and the center absolutely destroyed. So he did really good for our opponent, and it was like, guys, come on, like, don't make trades like that, like right before a game,
right? Give him a little extra motivation, yeah.
Yeah. But so anyway, San Antonio, lots of ups and downs. I know that they really struggled. And I feel bad for those guys because you could see it in the players' faces, man. Their hearts were in it. They were fighting tooth and nail, doing everything they could, and things would just go wrong, right? Bad bad play calling or bad route running or whatever. Things would just, fall apart on them. And so I, my heart goes out to them, right? Those guys really, really busted their tail and really, really tried. Um, And I would also like to say, back to kind of what I was talking about before, the apathy with the fans. We've got the San Antonio Gunslingers here. They've been here for what, 7, 8 years now, Brian?
Mm,
It's
well,
at least five.
this is
It's at least five for sure.
this is the fourth year in the IFL,
Mm-hmm.
and then
And they
had
were in
2
the
years.
NAL for 3.
Then they had 2 years in the NAL, and then they had the AAL for 1. So yeah,
Right. And the numbers seem to be better when they were in the NAL, but the numbers just aren't really showing up in the fans. And again, right, this is a fan driven kind of league. Like you need to show up and watch the games. Now, I'm not telling everybody, go out and spend all your money on these games and stuff like that, but give it a try. Like go
yeah,
check it out, see if it's something that you might
yeah.
like.
I don't expect everyone to go buy season tickets right away. Go to one game. Those games are a lot of fun. They're a lot of fun to go to.
Mhm.
Super fast pace. It's
Yep.
a blast to go there. So
Yep. It's not football. It's indoor football. So it's a
yeah,
much different game. So don't go with the expectations that you're going to see a regular football game. There's much different action on the field. And as I'm finding out, every league tends to have a little bit different rules.
yep,
So, for example, the what is it? AIF has different rules than the NAL, which has different rules than the IFL, which has different rules than the AF1, right? So you really kind of need to know what the rules are for the league that you're in. But it's still fun either way, you know? Um, so I'm encouraging everybody, depending on what happens with the San Antonio Gunslingers. Um, and I'm not going to spread any rumors or anything like that, but there is some uncertainty as to what league they're going to come back in. If they're going to come back in the IFL or maybe potentially look at going back into the NAL where they had a little bit more success. That's more up to the ownership group and the
yeah.
different leagues, and they've got to figure all that out. However, go and check out a game, right? Whatever league they land in, go check out a game. And especially this next season, because if they stay in the IFL, we're going to have an automatic rival in the new Austin team that's going to be obviously starting in Austin. Now,
Yep.
granted, they're over in kind of Cedar Park, but it's still Austin,
It's still
They're gonna
close enough for Austin.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And especially with it only being an hour and a half up the road, you could travel, go support the team up there, right? Which is going to lead great for that rivalry. Just like we had, the COFL rivalry, he tried to say, between the Toros and the Syndicate, right? Well, you've got that rivalry right there. And everybody loves a rivalry game,
Yeah.
regardless of what game it is. So try and check them out, see, how things are, especially with it being Austin and keeping Austin weird. They're not going to know what the heck to do with indoor football. So we should be able to go over there and just trounce them and then make fun of their fans and, drink their hoity-toity beer and eat their, fancy sandwiches that they call tacos and, just have a good old time. But so that's kind of what's been going on. So we're going into the playoffs this weekend. First round of playoffs is this Saturday. It's going to be number 3 Tulsa versus number 2 Jacksonville. And then Sunday, it's going to be number 4 Pirates against number 1 Green Bay. And then you, of course, well, actually, you have a triple header because you're going to have number 3 Arizona versus number 2 Vegas.
Yep.
And then number 4 Tucson against number 1 San Diego. Right. And now that should determine who goes into the second round of playoffs. And then, of course, the finals. Right. So the next couple of weeks, the IFL season should be wrapping up. And it's going to be pretty exciting playoffs. So if you've got some time this weekend, flip it on Yahoo Sports, which, by the way, the numbers have been absolutely phenomenal for Yahoo Sports by broadcasting the games.
Yeah.
So turn it on. You could even get it on Prime. I mean, I saw the games on Prime, which was insane, and I love that. Okay, now over to the National Arena League, where the Amarillo Warbirds are, the Dallas Bulls were, and I think because the other team is in the AF1. I don't believe the Dallas Bulls finished out their season. The Amarillo Warbirds did not do horrible. Let me look at the standings real quick. Yeah, they did. They finished out 8th. They were 1-9. So, and then Dallas Bulls didn't even finish. And then now there's a new team called the Dallas Apex, which I'm assuming are replacing the Dallas Bulls. And so I know there was a little bit of a financial controversy with all that. And we can't offer too much information on that because really all we have is speculation. We don't have a whole bunch of the inside information. But it was not necessarily the greatest look for the league. But playoffs, like that whole season is done now. And Southwest Kansas Storm wound up taking the league by storm, pun fully intended. And they are the 2026 National Arena League champions. So going into next season, obviously you're going to have Amarillo, right? And you're going to have the Dallas Apex. Plus, of course, you got Colorado Spartans, the Louisiana Rougarou, whatever, the Omaha Beef, Pueblo Punishers, Salinas Liberty, Sioux City Bandits, and the Southwest Kansas Storm. Should be some good action this next season. Hopefully, some of our Texas teams can figure out some of the issues that they had, get those turned around, and put a bigger dent into this league and show the rest of the world what Texas football is all about, whether it's indoor, outdoor, whatever, right? Now, we'll finish up with AF1. So AF1, Beaumont Renegades, right? Because we're cover all football teams in Texas here. They didn't do so well either, right? So it looks like outside of the San Antonio Toros, and I guess Austin and somewhat Midland, right? Maybe not Midland. But the rest of the Texas teams and the rest of these divisions did not fare so well.
Yeah.
And so, Beaumont got kind of destroyed. And so we're into the playoffs this weekend. It's the second round of the playoffs. The Minnesota Monsters are going to be taking on the Albany Firebirds. Jeremy.
Go away, birds. Go away.
Yes. Speaking of birds, Albany Firebirds, right? They're going to be playing this weekend. And so I'm just going to assume that he was rooting for Albany's team.
That's probably what it was.
Yeah. And then, of course, on Sunday, you've got who's the Arsenal? Michigan Arsenal versus the Nashville Cats. So again, you've got some more football playoff action this weekend. AF1, a little bit different rule set, but it's still going to be high flying action. Should be pretty fun. I'm noticing though that in this league there were a lot of northern teams, and then of course Beaumont. But one team that isn't there anymore, it's the Kentucky Barrels.
Yeah.
Now, did you hear some of the references that were being made about the Kentucky Barrels?
I've seen a lot of stuff on the Book of Faces, just posts, I guess, like they weren't paying the players, cut a bunch of them that kind of asked, like, hey, where's my money? I played these games. Where's my money? And they were like,
you're fired.
Yeah, you know what? You don't have a job anymore. So I've seen.
How dare you ask to be paid?
Yeah, the nerve. I've seen some of that, but I mean, I haven't dug too much into it. I mean,
So,
what do you expect from a team with a stupid ass name like the Barrels? You know?
yes. So there was a meme that perfectly sums it up. Remember when we were kids, we used to watch the Scooby Doo, and the kids would tie up the bad guy and then they'd pull off the mask.
Yeah.
Well, Fred pulled the Kentucky Barrel mask off only to see the Corpus Christi Tritons. So that was
I
a
think I did see
perfect
that
summary.
one. I think I did see that one.
Yes. So lots of financial issues, identical to what happened in Corpus.
Yeah.
And so here we are. History repeats
And
itself.
isn't it the same like people that were doing that?
I think there might be some of the same people. Yeah. Right. Yeah. I know. I know. I know. I know. So, again,
let me put my hand on let me put my hand on this hot stove. Oh, damn it. Why did I get burned?
Because you turned the stove on and burnt your hand prior to that.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. So again, AF1 will be wrapping up this weekend. Should be some pretty good action. Well, I say it's wrapping up, right? They're in their semifinals, and then next week should be the finals. And it should be, some pretty good action, right? Not sure what's going to happen next season because obviously Kentucky's out, and so that kind of knocks the numbers off. And so I'm sure they'll find somebody to replace them with. However,
It's freaking arena football. You know, they rotate teams through those leagues like crazy. You know,
it is true, and I think if I remember correctly, oh no, that's in the AIF. There is another arena team that's going to be coming to the Austin area, so this is going to be really weird, right? There should be two arena teams, and I don't know how that's going to fare in that marketplace. But this team should be in the AIF. And we've made contact with the ownership group. They seem like a pretty decent group of people. But of course, everything is just starting out right now. And so they've got a long way to go to get the team established, get a place to play, rosters, coaches, blah, 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 blah. Right. But we will be keeping an eye on them. And then there's also supposedly another arena team coming here to San Antonio.
yeah.
I've only heard a couple of things about them, and I haven't seen anything recently. So I'm not sure what's going to happen with that. Right. But all that to say, that should be all of your alternative football wrapped up in a nutshell. That's 3/4 right there that we just took up. So why don't we kick over to yeah, I know. BD's making fun of me in the private chat about our 15 minutes.
I love that you said that right as I was typing it out too.
Yeah. We did at least spend 15 minutes kind of on each segment, right?
You know what? I mean,
alternative football.
It went we're still a little close to the World Cup that it went to like extra time or stoppage time. That's what it was, stoppage time.
Yeah, we're definitely, we got some stoppage time.
Yeah.
So again, arena football did not do Texas very well, and kind of see what happens this next season. Let's talk about something a little bit closer to home. Let's talk about high school football. Okay. So some of the preseason rankings are already out, and I do agree with some of these. You're definitely going to want to keep an eye on the Brennan Bears, right? I don't remember if they're in 6A or 5A. I want to say they're in 6A, but they obviously had a dominant year last year.
Yeah.
And so we're going to want to keep an eye on them. Steel Knights, of course, had a very dominant year as well.
Shocking.
Shocking. Yeah, shocking, right? Smithson Valley, another one that's a big shocker. Yeah. But they're actually doing some art. They're staying in 5A, whereas their direct competitors, Piper High School, is going up to 6A, right? And let me be the first to say it, right? Texas Sports Productions, first of all, guys, thank you for all of your support. I didn't give them a shout out earlier, so I'll give them a shout out now because they've definitely been helping us out with all of this. However, that move may wind up being a very devastating move for the Piper High School program, going from 5A, where they've been dominant, into 6A, where they've got a lot more talent and a lot more skill.
Yeah.
Okay. So that could wind up blowing up in their face. But that it could also mean that they have a couple of bad years and have opportunities to bring in better talent and then be dominant again. So you're just going to have to lose out. But I don't expect a whole lot from them this next year. Alamo Heights and Reagan both get honorable mentions because obviously they're powerhouses also. And Alamo Heights should pretty much always be in the conversation at some point in time, right? You know who's not getting an honorable mention? Judson High School.
Yeah.
The legacy of Judson High School is officially over, guys. They have had so many struggles with getting talent, getting coaches, getting all of these things. I don't see them being dominant in the city of San Antonio anytime in the near future. So if you are a Judson Rockets fan, I don't know what to tell you. Right? It's gonna be some thin years for a while.
You know what? I'm a Madison, Maverick, and we know what it's been like for a long time. So I don't want to hear any Judson fans crying because they've had a few bad years. You know what? Madison's had like 20 bad years. So
what about my alma mater?
Hey, you know what? Y'all got a championship 30 years ago. We didn't get that. So you know what?
That is true. We did get a championship 30 years ago.
Yeah.
So that's kind of like boys kind of talking about, how great they used to be. So sorry.
Yeah, it's Roosevelt's year.
It's Roosevelt's year, and we've never said that because we know we're not a football school. We gave up on that in the 1960s. Well, and then the 90s, because we did have that one good year. Okay, so let's kick over to college football, because this is where, the rubber actually starts hitting the road, so to speak. Top 10 on ESPN's rankings. And we're actually going to make sure we give honorable mention to Brian's alma mater, which is the Texas A&M.
So where are your rankings coming from? Because I was looking, they don't have any official rankings out. I looked. Sporting News has their preseason out. That's kind of they're too early. The official rankings won't come out until probably mid-August.
Oh, no, these are power indexes.
Okay,
right. So based on strength of schedule and how they finished last year and blah blah blah. Right. Again, not official rankings. We've had this discussion 18 billion times in the UFL when we were giving out power rankings. Yeah. These are power rankings, okay? And there's a formula for it. It's not the formula we're using. It's the formula that ESPN is using. So, if you don't like it, call ESPN, take it up with them. But
if you don't like it, do your own and post those,
There you go. So, of course, number one, top of the list, and you expected this, right? Ohio State Buckeyes. And you knew that they were going to be coming in strong. Okay? They had a good, strong year last year. And a lot of the team is returning. So it's going to be expected. What I didn't expect was to see University of Texas in Austin, go all the way up to 2. So that tells me.
Yeah. That's a little. I don't know. I don't think they've earned that spot yet. But
that tells me that they probably have an easier schedule this year, which means that they're probably going to get more wins. Now, are they going to earn those wins? Right. That's a tough call when you're playing like UTSA and stuff like that. No offense to my favorite school, not my alma mater, but my favorite school. It's not the same.
Yeah.
Anyways, so number 3, Notre Dame. You knew they were going to be on the list. Oregon Ducks. Was a little bit surprised to see them.
No, I can see that. They had a damn good season last year.
Yeah. Well, and they probably have a little bit easier schedule this year. So that's probably why they're at number 4. Georgia Bulldogs. Of course, you expected to see them there. The Hoosiers, right? Last year they had a surprisingly good year. This could be a fluke.
I'll say they won the championship, but the ranking that I'm looking at actually has Indiana number 1, and
Okay.
I don't think they're going to be top 10. Obviously they lost their quarterback. He got drafted.
Mhm.
Hold on. My co-hosts are fighting over there. Y'all need to calm down. All right.
Hey.
Hey. Yeah, I don't see Indy being what they were this year. Be lucky if they make it into the top 10. I don't see it, but
Well, and I mean,
what,
again, without
what was yours? Y'all had your rankings had them 6th or 7th.
Yeah, they're at 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. They're at 6. Again, these are power indexes for 26.
It's not, that's not terrible. I mean, defending champs, you got to give them some respect. I absolutely don't think they should be number 1, which is where they are in the Sporting News one. Yeah, they won the championship, but they lost a lot of players. They lost their best player, so you're going to go down some spots with that. But yeah, I mean, again, this is preseason. We'll see the real official ones here in a few weeks.
Right. Again, these are just, like power rankings based on whatever formula ESPN came up with, whatever BD's looking at. Like, these are not our rankings.
Yeah.
Okay. So then, of course, you have Miami, Alabama, and LSU rounding out the top 9. Okay. There's a reason why I covered those 3. You expected them to at least get some kind of mention, right? Because again, they were forces to be reckoned with last season. This next team at number 10 really surprises me that they're at number 10, all things considered. Okay. Number 10, rounding out the list of the top 10 in this college football power index for 2026, is none other than the Texas Tech Red Raiders. Now, how?
I don't see it.
How? Right. How are you going to be top 10 losing your quarterback to controversy?
No, so technically he never played for Texas Tech. Like, he transferred to Tech in the offseason and then admitted that he just loved gambling way too much. So he never played for him, but he was going to be their starter. So they lost the guy who was going to lead the team.
Right.
But
who do they have to fill the gap though?
Yeah, I don't see them anywhere close to 10. I mean, maybe 15 to 20, I could see that, but
yeah. Well, and there's some other names on the list further down, like the Sooners are in 12th under the Aggies. Gators are much lower than what I would expect to see on this list.
Surprised
Michigan
Gators
is higher.
were on there at all. They were terrible last year.
Yeah, but again, weaker schedule, right? So Baylor is way down in the list.
Schedules in the SEC,
Yeah. So again, right, we've got some interesting dynamics here, some conflicting information, because obviously, everybody sees things a little bit differently, especially when we're talking about power rankings and stuff like that. So we're going to wait until the actual official rankings come out, and then we'll obviously pick them apart because we're not going to agree with them either. We'll kind of, right. But we're right around the corner, right? College football is going to be starting real soon. You know what else started this week? That would be
NFL training camp.
Yes, sir. Yeah. And this year is already off to an insane start, right? We talked about this off air, but the Chiefs, my God, you couldn't have caught a worse break. Your offensive coordinator, unfortunately, God rest her soul, but unfortunately, his wife was murdered in their house.
No,
it looks like
she wasn't. She didn't die. She just got.
Was she? Oh, I thought she died.
I don't know.
Okay, well, good. If that's the case, then good. But still, she gets shot by her son in their house.
She's currently hospitalized in stable condition.
Okay, good.
Okay, yeah.
Thank God for that, right? I thought she had gotten murdered. So thank God for that. But that still means the offensive coordinator is not there, right? So somebody's having to fill in for that. And that's gonna kind of throw a huge wrench in the game plan for the Chiefs, at least during preseason, right? Um, there's just all kinds of other crazy stuff. Then, of course, you have Kyle Shanahan got into an auto accident,
which
has
I
a
guess he got
concussion.
into it a while ago, and they just kind of just announced it or something
Well,
a few days ago.
It was on July 14th, so it wasn't that long ago, but it definitely was a while. Right?
2 weeks ago. I mean, that 2 weeks is a long time for something like that not to hit the news cycle.
Mm-hmm. Which again is really, really surprising.
Yeah.
And there's, some reports about, some struggles in Patriots training camp. Again, there's all these light thing, or just kind of highlights and stuff. Here's one. This should be no surprise, and I don't even know why. I mean, this is almost like sensationalism media, right? Packers received bombshell Micah Parsons injury update. He's recovering from a hamstring injury.
Yeah.
You didn't expect him to just come right back, did you?
They listed him on the physically unable to perform list. Like, everybody knew that he was going to be on that list and he was going to miss the beginning of the season. Like, everybody knows. I mean, probably half the season, I would assume, at least he's missing. So
yeah. So not a whole lot of news, obviously, because we just started training camp.
I do think kind of some, as far as injury related news, I don't know if you saw that Patrick Mahomes is basically, he's a full practice, like he's, full practicing, like no limitations, whatever. And I think really what happened is, the Chiefs got a couple shots of Justin Fields as like the backup quarterback. It was like, no, Patrick, you're getting your ass out here. I don't care if you got one leg.
Yeah. This season is definitely going to be an interesting season to watch, right? Obviously, Bears fans are all chipper because of how their team did last year. We're going to find out if it was a fluke or not. Yeah. Okay. I don't think they're going to have the season that they expected to have. Of course, then again, I think the Packers are going to have the season that I expect them to have, that nobody else expects them to have. I think it's going to be a rough season for Packers fans. I think it's going to probably come down to potentially Detroit and obviously Chicago. Well, I guess we can't call them Chicago anymore, can we? Because they're moving to like Hammond, Indiana. So it's the Indiana Bears. Right? And I'm definitely going to rub that one in. I don't care. Oh, yeah. That's what you get, Chicago. I don't care if Hammond is only half an hour outside of Chicago. You're not in Illinois anymore. You're in Hammond, Indiana. Okay? Get used to it. Why they did that. It breaks my heart. Oh, look, Jeremy's still stuck around. Right? Yeah.
He can't quit us.
Yeah, exactly. It breaks my heart to think that Chicago is not going to be playing in Soldier Field. That would be like Green Bay not playing in Lambeau. I don't like seeing historic fields like that not being used. I'm hoping that they're doing a renovation or something like that, like a big major renovation. That's just, let me have my hopes. Okay. Don't break my heart here. Okay.
All right. You go ahead. Do your thing.
They're building Jerry World North in Chicago. Okay. Let me just have that. But no, they're not. They're moving it to Hammond. Right. It's going to be cheaper. You're going to have a better facility. No Illinois state tax. It's going to be much nicer.
Probably no bullet holes and getting shot into the side of the stadium, stuff like that.
That's just part of the Art Deco feel, man.
Yeah.
That's Chicago.
It's that classic Chicago feel right there.
Yep. Okay. Let's talk about your Dallas Cowboys. Any news? How are things looking?
I mean, whatever. It's training camp. It's our year, I guess. I don't know. You know what? I'm cautiously optimistic because obviously for the last few years, offense was great, but the defense was absolutely terrible. Kicked Matt Eberflus to the curb like they should have. Hired Christian Parker. Jeremy, thank you, Eagles, for that. Kind of excited to see what he does. Made a lot of moves on the defense, just with free agent signings, drafting Caleb Downs. I'm real excited to watch him. Just as a rookie, at the safety position. Man, I don't know. I am not. I joke about it, but I am not one of those "it's our year" Cowboys fans. But I do see some good things, potential, and if things click well, hey, maybe we got a chance to make some noise. So we'll see. I'm looking forward to it.
It looks like Philadelphia has kind of a couple of positions as well. So that's going to be something you guys are going to have to kind of take. Although I will say, with some of the moves that Dallas made, I would be surprised if they don't have a really good year this year. The offense was pretty good, minus Dak Prescott, right? That's going to be your big X factor. But they've made moves on the defense to make that defense much more dominant. So defense can win games too. So we're just going to have to see what happens. But yeah, Philly's looking pretty good. So that's something to think about. New York is, of course, New York. I don't think you really have to worry much about them. And then the Washington Commanders. Right. So we'll see what happens there.
I saw a preseason poll, and it was Fox Sports that did it. So I'm trying to let me find it. They had the Eagles. They had the Eagles ranked at 7th. They had the Cowboys 19th. Where are the Giants? Giants were 21st, and Washington was 26th. And then where were you guys? Y'all, the Packers had them. Are y'all even on here? They might just they might kick you off the whole damn rankings. No, y'all were 16.
Yeah,
so
yeah. I'm trying to look myself and kind of see the power rankings.
Some dude named Ralph Vacciano. I don't know. Never heard of him, but
Ralph Macchio? Wasn't he the Karate Kid?
Something like that.
Anyways, yeah. Okay, so I'm looking at one from this the Ringer website. Obviously, it's got Seattle first, Rams second, Broncos third, Bills fourth, and then Patriots fifth. Right? Jacksonville Jaguars are actually in the top 10, and so are the Houston Texans. We'll see how that works out. The Bears are predicted at 9, right? Because of Caleb Williams. We'll see if that actually pans out. So what was yours? You said Philly was at what?
Philly was at 7.
Okay, this one's got him at 11.
Okay.
And then Detroit at 13, us at 14. Cowboys are at 16. And then Commanders at 22nd. And the Giants at 25.
Yeah. I think that's a little more accurate. I think the Giants are way behind the Commanders. So
yeah, and again, they've got a lot of issues that they have to work through. Jackson Dart is not necessarily a horrible quarterback, but he's not a seasoned veteran. He needs some time. And then obviously John Harbaugh is coaching the team. So it's not like they don't have experienced leadership there, but they got to get everything kind of together.
Yeah.
Right. So, and I don't think this year
I forgot Harbaugh was coaching them. So, I mean, that'll put him up a couple points. But, yeah.
Yeah. So, this year, Mr. Inconsequential with quarterback Justin Fields is going to be the New York Jets. They're at 32. So poor New York, man. They just can't catch a break. But anyway, so yeah, there's not a whole lot of news just yet because the NFL preseason, well, the training camp started, not even preseason. We have a lot to look forward to. There's going to be a lot more news and updates coming out in the next couple of weeks as we see things. I know the Packers already cut one player. That was a kicker that was struggling last year. It is not a big surprise.
Yeah.
And we lost Malik Willis to Miami. I really am pulling for that kid. I hope he does well, even though it's Miami, right? At least Claudia would be happy that way.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, speaking of which, I didn't even see Miami on this list.
The one I had, they were the 31st with Arizona 32nd.
They're 29th on this list, and they still got Tua on there.
Yeah.
Right. And
so that's a really old list because even you said your Jets one had Justin Fields, and he's with Kansas City now.
Yeah.
So
this has got to be from a while ago. Anywho's it's okay. Nice. The kids are sending me messages about banana bread and stuff like that they made. So I don't get it. But
I was gonna say, I guess let's get out of here so you can go get some banana bread.
Well, I don't get it. So they're just teasing me with it. So, that's all right. I'll shut their phones off. Anyways, so yeah, a lot coming up in the next couple of weeks. We've got, the alternative football leagues are finally winding down, and we're moving into high school, college, and the pros. So as more news becomes available, we'll obviously be sharing a little bit more. And we are going to, because we don't have so much to cover with the alternative football stuff, we will be able to streamline the show a little bit more and spend maybe a little bit more time talking about high school, college, and football, and pros. So maybe it'll be 3 periods, kind of like hockey, right? But anyways, this is a good time to go ahead and wrap the show up here. So our shout outs again, first of all, thank you so much, Texas Sports Productions, for all of your help and assistance. Looking forward to coordinating with you guys this season with the high school, especially with all the different high school stuff that we have to cover, right? So many players that need to be talked about here in San Antonio and so little time. So they're definitely going to be a godsend for that. Also want to give a shout out to all the help from our friends over at Pro Arena Talk for all the football information that they provided for us, and our friends over at Alternative Football Network for all the support. Yep. And helping us blow up the social medias and everything, and our friends over at the X-Fan Show for helping us with the Continental Football League coverage and everything. Of course, the players and staff that have been so gracious to talk to us from the San Antonio Toros, and the Gunslingers for providing us some good local entertainment. And our sponsors, which right now we don't have any, but this would be a great spot for you to be able to have us talk about you as a sponsor. If you're interested, contact us. We can work some stuff out. And I am working some deals, but it's slow going, mainly because I've got a full-time job. BD's got a full-time job. Yep. It's hard for us to chase after sponsors here. Anyway, the most important people we want to give a shout out to are you guys, the fans, right? My lovely Sabrina and your lovely Claudia for allowing us to do this, and everybody else that sticks around and watches us for an hour and a half, because we can never seem to do this in an hour. So, guys, thank you so much. This is episode 1 in the books, right. And we don't even know what number we're at anymore.
I got to go count again. You keep taking the damn numbers off every time I put them up, so,
I can't help it, right? Because I have these catchy titles, and I want to display the catchy titles. Geez. So, anyways, this is like 156, I think, in the books.
No, we're all 160. We're like high 160s.
Well, I think you're high, but anyways, we should probably end it there.
Maybe. I don't know.
You got a good sign off this weekend or this episode?
Man, what are we? What I said suck at Philly last week. Um, man, suck at New York. I'm still a little bitter about the NBA Finals. Screw the Giants. Jets suck. Suck at New York.
There you go. I'm going to say suck it to the apathy here in San Antonio. Get out, support football, support local sports, guys. You want it around, you got to be a part of the solution. That means getting involved, supporting, taking your friends to games, going to games yourself, right? Let's destroy apathy here. Just go check out a game. Okay? You have all next season, right? Take the NFL season off, enjoy your football, whatever you support. This next season, let's get involved. And again, if you want to see the UFL back in this neck of the woods, start posting about it like crazy. Get people involved, get people talking about it, because that's the only way you're going to catch Rapoli's attention. And if it's not making him money, he ain't going to think about it. So
For sure.
it's up to you guys. Okay. That's it. Guys,
right.
We'll catch you on the next episode.
Later, guys.
See ya.